In a major reveal by Reuters, US intelligence has confirmed that Iran's military loaded naval mines onto vessels in the Persian Gulf last month, a move that heightened concerns in Washington. Two US officials say Tehran took this step shortly after Israel launched missile strikes on Iranian targets on June the 13th, possibly signalling plans to block the Strait of Hormuz. Although Iran has not deployed the mines, intelligence reports suggest the regime was seriously considering closing the strait, a critical global trade route through which about 20% of the world's oil and gas supplies flow. Interestingly, global oil prices have dropped over 10% since the US bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites on June the 22nd. US intelligence could not pinpoint when Iran loaded the mines or whether the weapons have since been removed. Officials declined to reveal how they gathered the information, though such intelligence typically comes from satellite imagery or human sources. When asked for comment, a White House official praised President Trump's Operation Midnight Hammer and his maximum pressure strategy, saying they kept the Strait of Hormuz open and dealt a major blow to Iran. The Pentagon and Iran's UN mission did not immediately issue a response. Dr. Awad, I'd like your opinions on this. Of course, the Strait of Hormuz, a vital shipping route, as we mentioned, but do you think that this is a signal that the US intervention in the Middle Eastern conflict and tensions between Iran and Israel has potentially stopped a situation that could have huge global economic ramifications?
On the contrary, I think it is the American who is fishing in the turbulent water in the Persian Gulf and in the Mediterranean Sea and even in the Red Sea. Let's put it very clearly on this, because this is very important questions you're asking, because now you are focusing more on the strategic objective of the United States and the West to conquer the whole region by removing Iran from the pictures, and there will be total control on all the supply routes and the global trade in case of Hormuz, Strait of Hormuz, or the Red Sea, or the Mediterranean through the Suez Canal. Look at the global instability would have been happening. Look at the peace and tranquility in this part of the world, or global peace and tranquility will be also at risk if the Americans take this. Look at the development in this region. I'm talking to you a chronology of the event taking place in the Strait of Hormuz. It has been always Iranian who have been safeguarding the Strait of Hormuz because A, of their first interest, B, because of the neighboring country, which Iran have shown a great respect. 1988, when the American shot down the civilian airlines of the Iranian over the Strait of Hormuz, Iran threatened. Again, they have sabotaged, and there was a warship from UK and the American also attacking and provoking the Iranian safeguard, the guards who was guarding the maritime guard, and then they refused to even to close it. Even the American, when they pulled out of the nuclear deal with the West, implemented pressure and sanctions on Iran, threatening to increase the taxations on the shipping lines, and they could compensate for the loss of their exporting of their oil. All these things give you a clear indication that the provocative method used by the United States and UK and Israel is nothing to do with actually the tranquilities and peace in this region, and Iran is the victim and Iran is the culprit. No, Iran is not the culprit. Iran understands the geopolitical importance of its presence, the good neighboring with the neighbors, which they have not even used it, but American having more than 80 military bases in the GCC and in Syria and in Iraq, and yet they are encroaching into Iran because they know one day they have to take on Iran, not because of the Iranian closing the Strait of Hormuz. They wanted the Iranian to close the Strait of Hormuz because they are aiming directly at China. China is and India, Korea, and Japan are the main countries using they are importing oil from this part of the world. You think the United States will lose if this Strait of Hormuz is closed? On the contrary, it is the American with the largest exporters of gas and oil in the world now will be the sole beneficiaries, plus the plus the Russian. And who will suffer? The Asian and the European, because of closing the Strait of Hormuz. So let us think on terms of what is the main objective of the United States is to create a kind of a chaotic situation and contain China in the next step of turning the guns in the Asia Pacific against China.
Yes, and Dr. Rawad, we will come back with you to continue discussing the situation in the Middle East, particularly with Iran. But we're first going to look at Russian President Vladimir Putin.